Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you, or wherever this is finding you. Hopefully it's finding you on the 6th of March, because today is a Friday. It's the first Friday of the weekend. Of the month of March, rather. And daylight saving happens on Sunday. We turn our clocks forward. And if you were with us at the beginning of the week, I had shared a few tips according to the internet on how to adjust more accordingly. And let me tell you, didn't follow a single one of those tips, but maybe you did. And if that was the case, I'm cheering for you. I'm rooting for you. Have you ever thought that your boyfriend is cheating on you? And then come to find out that he's doing this one incredibly random thing instead? We'll talk about that and the differences between girlhood and boyhood, a few things to look out for and look forward to this weekend here in Cincy, and all sorts of good stuff. It's like day 7,000 of rain here. I don't have any complaints because my girlfriends in New England are still buried under snow. And this is typical. It's very warm. It's making Cincinnati very, very foggy this morning and the last couple of days. And to be honest, I just kind of have put the weather app on ice a little, and so just taking it as it comes. But checking in on you per usual. We usually do this every day right around this time. Just how are you? What's at top of mind for you? What's the latest thing that you texted your friend about, your group text about? That's what we'll eventually get into on this episode. But what's top of mind for you? Where are you at? And if you don't feel like sharing with me, that's okay. It's just always good to do a little temperature check on yourself before you spend time with coworkers, family this weekend, friends. Have you ever not dealt with whatever's going on inside your head and then gone to some sort of event, whether it be small, big family group outing, and you're there, but you're not there because you're thinking about something else? So just making sure you get caught up to speed with yourself. All is good in my world. To be honest with you, this is the first week in month 5 of being unemployed. This is the first week that I've pitched some successful business. And I haven't quite shared what we're working on here yet on this show, but yeah, one step at a time. So I'm choosing to celebrate a win here this morning with you, and I appreciate all the love and support that you've given this show because it's helping it grow. We grow into our own little thing here. I don't know what to call it. It's a daily companion show. Things you want to know, need to know, could use later. Hopefully it makes you feel a little less grounded, a little more grounded, a little less performative. It's rooted in Cincinnati, but made for wherever you are. And I have a lot of out-of-towner listeners that have joined me on this journey, and I really do appreciate that. Ainsley's one of them. Hannah's another. Hannah's in China right now. Okay, have you ever thought that your boyfriend's cheating on you, and then you come to find out, you're like, what? The things that they say about boys on the internet can be true sometimes. So we're going to talk about the silly differences between boyhood and girlhood. Now, I have never felt the threat of my significant other, which, by the way, we're celebrating our 1-year meet-iversary. I explained how that all came to fruition in yesterday's episode. So it's our 1-year meet-iversary. And it's been such a lovely and special thing. And I was reminded of the silliness of boyhood today because tonight is Bachfest. I did a whole episode of that yesterday. And it's the baby goat yelling competition. 8 o'clock, Moorline Lager House. More details are on my social if you want to come. Completely free. Very silly. Really silly. And it's where I met my significant other. So maybe you too could meet yours. We'll continue the tradition. And as we get ready to go and do this tonight, he was on television this morning. Moorline brought him in to be on Spectrum 1. And I could kind of, hear him yesterday, and I've been hearing the whispers and whatnot of him telling his friends about this. And so now his entire video game community they're leaving the PCs and they're coming to Moorline tonight. We're getting out the house, and they're all coming to support him in the most silly thing. They're all coming out. One of his friends, Nick, flying in from Dallas, Texas, to support this silliness. And it just had me thinking, as I was sharing in my own group text this morning, the silly differences between boyhood and girlhood. Now, I have had the luxury, of course, of being ingrained in girlhood, but also a deep observer of boyhood these days. And there's a lot of similarities and some differences. So the cheating part, and so they say on the internet, have you ever seen that? You're like, you think he's cheating on you, and then he's really doing what? Fill in that blank for yourself. For mine, it's just like the most stupid video game that you could ever play has given them so much joy, so much fulfillment, so much distraction, so much brain rot, and they love it. There's one, I have no idea what the game is called, but I do know that they have an RV. And in this game, you can smoke cigs and drink beers and drive an RV around. And I swear to you, 4 hours will go by and they're still driving around this video game RV. And I couldn't even be bothered. I couldn't even be bothered to turn on my computer at that point. So the similarities between girlhood and boyhood, I think that they show up for each other very similarly to how women show up for each other. Like, I really enjoy that they celebrate the small, silly things with one another, like the goat calling competition. And I think girlhood does that as well. Like, if I got a text from my best friend and she's like, hey, I didn't text my ex this week one time, I'd be like, what would you like to do in celebration for that? I'm down. And that's what I really started like leaning into, attending, and inviting my friends to. As someone who's kind of hyper independent, I would, sometimes I end up just like doing something by myself. But I've started trying to invite my friends to the most silly, random things that I want to celebrate. And I find them showing up for that stuff in the same type of passion that they would show up for my birthday. And I do think that that is a similarity between boys and girls. It's silly. And I think that's what life is. Less about, here's my like stake and claim in this world. I would rather celebrate the most random thing for you than us plan a giant New Year's Eve party. How does that sit with you? How does that feel, right? I would rather book a vacation on a random day because you felt like it than put a ton of time and energy and effort into planning a wedding. And I think that boils down to, for me, is a lot of expectation. I don't do well with expectation. And I really, really love spontaneity. And I just think there's something so fulfilling about that. Okay, so some of the similarities, the silliness between boyhood and girlhood exists. The type of conversation, here's a difference. Very different. Very different. This boy group talks about the Epstein files a lot. They talk about like whatever brain rot video that they saw. And I feel like girlhood has a little bit more in-depth conversation. So I would say a primary difference between men and women is communication. So we'll bring the goat calling competition back for an example here. If I was telling my girlfriends about this, would have probably printed out a really nice Canva invite, I would have individually texted the people that I wanted to be there. I would send it in the group chat. There would be discussions about what we were wearing, right? There would be a lot of communication. The vibe would have been asked. What's the vibe? What do I need to someone at some point would have been like, hey, what's the vibe? And I would know that question would mean, hey, you would probably dress casual. You'll come in this type, like between this window and this window. We'll probably eat if we want to, but there'll be beverages. And then my friend would be like, cool, I get it. This was communicated, I don't know, somehow haphazardly, probably in Discord, and somehow the message got around. And if any one of their wives had asked them what the plan was for tonight, they would have no detail other than he's doing a goat calling competition and I think we're going at 8 p.m. Whereas if the women were communicating, we would have A through Z ready to go for you. Communication's been a big thread in my life. Of course, you're listening to a conversation right now between the two of us. And it's a strength of mine and one that I'm very passionate about. But it is a thread that runs through everything that I do. And it could be annoying sometimes. I'm sure my significant other sometimes gets annoyed by it. But I feel like communication, it's so cliche. it really does change. It changes things for you. So if you're struggling somewhere in your relationship, I wonder where you sit with the thought of communication. By the way, if you and I aren't connected yet, you feel free to send me a voice note anytime on this exact subject, the silly differences between boyhood and girlhood, or, what your thoughts are on communication. Sure, any of that. If you've gone to Bachfest, if you have questions about Bachfest, at the Tiff 2Fs Potter like the wizard. We will leave it there for now. I'm thinking of you every day. I appreciate your support. If that is in the form of listening, great. If it's in the form of following and subscribing, if that is something you feel aligned with, awesome. If there's something that made you giggle today and you share it with a friend, I love that. I love it. Love it. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for inviting me into your life and your morning and inviting me to the places that you love. I'll see you right back here on Monday, and it will be 1 hour earlier, still 8 a.m. when the show comes out, but it will, we're changing those clocks forward. So you don't literally have to do anything. Fortunately, iPhone and Siri is good for that one thing. All right, we'll see you back here tomorrow.